Hey guys, this is Vendetta here. So I attended San Jose Regional this last weekend, and there was 390 people there, and I was playing with this deck, and I actually got 10th place, which was really good because this is the first time I've ever placed so high. So I got an invite to regionals basically. I'm not sure when I'm going to go, but I want to do a really quick deck profile because there's some cool deck choices that I placed in here. One thing I'm going to say though is that I'm not going to be talking about my side deck because my side deck was half of it was pretty bad. I couldn't get the cards I wanted at times, so I tried throwing in replacements, and the two games I lost, I went undefeated all the way up to round 8, round 9, and I lost both of them. Game 3 was when like side decking became like super important. And the cards that were missing were exactly side cards for those matchups, so it was, I couldn't push through one more win to make a top 8 status. But my main deck and my extra deck performed exceptionally well in my opinion, so I just want to go over my card choices real quick. So, this is a PK Firestorm deck, or PK Fire playing Speedroid Engine basically. So for Speedroids, standard 3 Terror Top, 2 Takamore board, 3 Dantes, and synergy with Levier. Pretty self-explanatory. Nothing super unique about that type of stuff. Burning Bitch play Tour Guide. I play 2 Skarms. Yeah, I often feel like I can recycle Skarm enough to the point where I just kept running out of BA monster in my deck, where something happened. So I think 2 Skarm was fine. 1 Graph, 2 Sir. Obviously the best Burning Bitch monster of the deck. 2 Farfar. Farfar became seriously good because of Beatrice being able to disrupt your opponent when they overlay for a monster. And it gets Farfar it, so they get no value out of that monster, and it comes back. And then you can do Farfar during your turn to go for game bashing one of their like defense monsters. And then the one-ofs, Barbar for burn damage, very good card. Libic, to get out another Burning Abyss monster with effect negated, so you can continue playing with your Fancy Knight engine or your Speedroid engine, and they wouldn't self-destruct, so you would have another rank 3 on the spot and trigger another BA effect. Calcab, this card didn't perform nearly as well as I thought it would, mostly because this card is really only good for decks that play counter draft because you can spin it back to the hand during the end phase with Beatrice, but normally I opted to mill out something else in that type of situation, which is good for everything except for the situation this is good in. And I almost always saw this card in the graveyard by milling it with Dante earlier, and you get no value out of it because your opponent had no face down card because it's turn 1. So not as well as I was hoping with that one, but the rest of it was really strong. Then Phantom Knights, you play 2 gloves, play 2 cloaks, play 3 boots. Boots is the best one in the deck, obviously. Lets you recruit out your trap card, your fog blades, and your wings. Cloak is probably the worst one to open up with, so I almost always sided one out. And because you'd rather see a side card that's good for the matchup than this card, which doesn't really promote as many plays in your hand without like another card to support it. And then Glove is pretty good because once it's in the graveyard, it could be either one of these two, or Advanced Knight trap card basically, so it lets you promote more plays or lets you build up defenses for the next turn. So that's pretty good. For spells, I play 3 Tomb Twisters. Blow up your opponent's back row, discard a card for your hand, make more plays with that card you discarded. So Tomb Twister you get essentially a +3 because you blow up 2 cards and you get a card in your graveyard that you want in your graveyard to get more plays out of it. It's really good. I played 3 Matches too. This card was pretty clutch whenever I drew it. Most of the time, because making Darklaw in this deck is really strong, because it's really good versus a lot of the meta right now, and you could actually back it up with trap cards that could protect Darklaw. So a problem with some decks is like you make Darklaw and then you can get blown up by your Darklaw, and then you waste a card for nothing because you have to discard a card, you gotta play this card, and then you lose a monster to make it. But this deck, discarding and losing monsters to the graveyard is really good, because you want cards in the graveyard, and then this deck can protect Darklaw, so you get like a lot of mileage out of your Darklaw, which is really strong. And then you play 1 Rhoda, search out boots, search out gloves usually, and get more plays out of it. Foolish Burial, pitch a boot, becomes a trap card, pitch a Graph Forcer, becomes a monster card, make more plays out of it. So Foolish is really strong in this deck. And my tech 1 of Galaxy Cyclone. Sometimes your opponent only has one base down card, so you rather just Galaxy Cyclone Twin Twister it, because then you don't get much value out of it. And then Galaxy Cyclone, you banish it from the graveyard to turn off your opponent's domain. And then you can also do it to turn off your own Fog Blade, so that you can attack their monster that you Fog Bladed. Or you can attack with the monster, use the effect that you Fog Bladed yourself with. Galaxy Cyclone did do a fair amount of work, I say, so it's definitely a good card to be playing in this deck. For trap, your best one is 3 Fog Blades. Phoenix Chain deck, searchable, makes it really, really good. But I think by far my favorite is the Wings. So what you do is Wings, you boost the monster attack by 500, and the turn that the monster will be destroyed, it is not destroyed. Which makes it really, really clutch. Only for once though, but so you make Dark Hole, you have this under it. If they try to Dark Hole it, if they try Dark Hole, you wing it. So not only will that monster not be destroyed by Dark Hole or Raigeki, but the Dark Hole becomes 29, which makes it a bigger problem for people to deal with. So it really helps because I played against a couple of matches where they had Dark Hole Raigeki on my Dark Law. I just winged it and they just scooped because they didn't have a second or a third answer to Dark Law basically. And there was the matchup versus Cosmos when the guy made Break Sword to try to destroy my Dark Law, and then I winged it, so boosted it by 500 and wasn't destroyed by Break Sword. He end based, got a Tin Can out, got out Forerunner, and I attacked with Dark Law, and he was like, okay, and I'm like, you do know the 500 boost on this is permanent, so if Dark Law is permanent 29, he just scooped because I guess his back row wasn't relevant enough, and he lost his only Kozmo monster basically he had left on field and hand. So like there was really nothing he could have done at that point. I played 2 swords. The only really good thing about this is a searchable trap card that gives your opponent 800 attack point boost. And if the monster will be destroyed, this falls off instead, which is pretty helpful if your opponent is trying to crash. They try to attack to try to get over your monster, you just boost it up big enough. So like if they Dark Destroyer try to attack the Dark Law, you boost it by 800, and then it's 32, and then it kills Dark Destroyer, it gets banished, because Dark Law's effect gets no value out of it. And it's actually really helpful versus Great Magnus, because what you can do then is that you crash Beatrice into it, you get out Pilgrim Dante, and he's 28, and then you boost it up with this sword, makes it 36, makes it equal attack point, then you crash it, and then Dante will normally be destroyed, but then this card can fall off instead, so your Dante survives. So if they don't have any cards in your hand, you can just keep your Dante, Pilgrim, and then just keep tutoring its effect to discard BA, draw a card to get more value out of it. So it's really, really good. My tech 1 of is Tomb Shield. This is the card I almost always wanted to pitch with Beatrice if they don't do anything. Because what this card does in the graveyard is, except for a turn that this card was sent there, you can banish it to negate your opponent's trap cards. So during testing versus Kozmo, this was really, really good in canceling out your opponent's Cosmojo, Call the Haunted if they're trying to defend against your OTKs. And versus the BA matchup where the guy was playing Vanny's Emptiness on testing, like, I got this in the graveyard, the next turn I just banished it, turned off their Vannies for a turn, especially some of all my monsters, my Dante, my Beatrices, and all that stuff. And I just went end turn, and then his Vanny turned back on, he can't do anything on the Vanny, so my friend was like, this card is like stupidly nuts. And I really like this card in this deck. And Breakthrough skill. So Breakthrough is a very flexible card. Drawing this card is never bad because it negates your opponent's monster effect, which is really, really good. And then in the graveyard, you can use it to banish it to turn off your opponent's Beatrice where they try to disrupt your plays. Or the main reason to play this was to turn off a Majesty's Fiend or Vanny's Fiend. So like if I play against Monarchs and then I know they Stormforce me on Beatrice, I would know they were trying to do some play with it, so I would just get Breakthrough to the graveyard. And also a good thing about it, if they try to do Delight Monarch, Tribute Summon effect during my turn, I can banish it to negate it too, so they don't get much mileage out of it as they hoped as they would. So that is it for my main deck. My main deck is 42 cards. In this deck, when I like to mill a lot of decks, I like to play a little bit extra so I don't deck out as fast. And so I could play some tech 1-ups that are really, really interesting, like those that I said before. So the extra deck, 3 Dante. Dante is the homie, the soul, the heart of this deck. There was a few situations where I made 3. 2 is manageable, so I really hope the bandit doesn't do 1. Like 2 still keeps the deck alive and gives me a little bit more room in extra deck to think about what else I want to play basically. 2 Levier to Sea Dragon. Levier brings out Phantom Knight monster and makes you do more XE plays, lets you go for free damages basically, free 1800 once you get more cards going. Really good. I have 2 Break Swords. I was borrowing one of my friends, but you play 2 Break Swords in your deck list. Normally when I make this card, it's either to disrupt my opponent's field, if I pop in a Dante or pop in like another card that I wanted to destroy to go to the graveyard, like a Fog Blade, or I pop itself and I'd be going for game, because then I would make Rebellion Dragon to make it super big, or I go to Dp-Ygo to protect a Floodgate monster like Dark Law, or I protect a Master Restrict, or you can use it to protect Anti-Spell Fragrance, and then at that point your opponent should just not be able to win anymore in that situation, because you're protecting a card that they need out in order to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically. I played Gramples. That's one of my rank 3s. The idea behind this was that against Monarchs, I would side in Dark Hole Raigeki, and if they have Domain up, I would Dark Hole Raigeki them, go off, and then main phase 2 make this card pop their field spell. So this way they didn't have to like just tribute summon another monster card just to turn on Domain again. Like they would have to physically get another copy of Domain first, and then have a tribute summon a monster, which takes a little more time, a little more effort for them to make. Hopefully that would be enough. It's also pretty good versus the BA matchups, because then you pop your opponent's Fog Blades or whatever. I don't play blue layer, so it's not a quick effect, but it's still pretty good in getting your opponent to force out the back row sometimes. Really strong. F-Zero, Kozmo matchup, this card is a boss. It's also really good now versus Burning Abyss, because if they have Beatrice out, they haven't used the effect yet. Basically, this card will force it out, because if you take their Beatrice and they haven't used the effect yet, you get to use their Beatrice. And the opponent does not want you to use Beatrice, especially if you have another one on the field. So basically you get 2 free dumps, and one of them is the one that they could have used. They will be forced to like, dump their Farfel or something like that to try to disrupt my play, and to make sure that if I take their Beatrice somehow still, I don't get any mileage out of it. So the 2 4s, like I said before, Rebellion Key Beetle. These are the best 4s to play. There's no real need to play Thestalos or Nightmare. Like these should be really the only 2 you need, because you'll be going for game with this, or just be you make an unbreakable win condition with this, and then your opponent just can't do anything anymore. Play 2 Beatrice. Pure BAs play 3, which I think gives them a slight edge over this type of matchup. But it's mostly who can establish the Beatrice first. And then with the PK Firestorm deck, like it's very easy to get a free Dante, because Tour Guy essentially equals to Dante, Terror Top equals to Dante, Phantom Knight and Boots equals to Dante, so then all you need is another BA monster to pitch, and you make this card first. And it's kind of hard. It's a little bit hard to disrupt making a Dante this deck, since Terror Top is not a normal summon commitment, and Phantom Knight can just do stuff, can be special summon from graveyard with some traps also, so then you just make a free Dante out of that as well. So it's really strong. You play the 1 Dante fusion. You can play Virgil, but I really like this card because it's a 28 untargetable card. And the 28 is relevant because, as I said before, it helped me beat Great Magnus because of his stat line. And beyond the pitch a BA card to draw another card, get a BA monster's effect out of that is really good. Especially since it helps you keep drawing, because in this deck you want to be playing the card advantage for a while. You don't play the life point burn damage. Like you just make sure you control the board, make sure you have more plays than they do, you lock them out. Eventually when they start running low on cards, then that's when you should be going for game basically. So I almost always went from like 8,000 to 0 or 6,000 to 0 basically, against most of my opponents that I won against. And then of course the 1 Dark Law. In this deck you don't really need 2, because your wings and your blade should be able to protect Dark Law. And then if it stays on the field long enough, like once you make Key Beetle and equip it to it, it's basically untouchable. Like if they attack it, you can just sword it, and then try to get rid of the card effect, you have Key Beetle to protect it. So what one person did was, I had this card, and I had Key Beetle protecting Dark Law. And the guy went Dark Hole. I was like wings on Key Beetle, and Dark Law stays, because Dark Law can be destroyed by card effect because of Beetle's effect. Beetle stayed because of Wings effect, and then Beetle got 500, so Beetle became 4,000. And my opponent essentially just scooped, because I can't break a 4,000 Key Beetle protecting the Dark Law. So that was just it for them. So this is my deck profile. Like I said, I'm not going to go over my side deck. My side deck choices were pretty bad. Like half of them were pretty bad. But yeah, I really enjoy playing this deck. If for some reason if for some reason if I plan on playing on regional, I really hope I could play this deck basically and get all my side cards so I can perform better. But yeah, this deck's a lot of fun. My main decks perform extremely well for the most part, and I played a diversity of decks and I dominated most of them. Like I just 2-0'd or 1-0'd on time them. Then my losses were 2-1, 2-1. Like I didn't just lose straight up. So I think that speaks a lot about the power that this deck has. So I definitely consider this as one of the tier 1 decks of the format. Really, really strong. I do enjoy playing this. So that's my deck profile for PK Firestorm, and this is Vendetta signing off. See ya.